Hello again, YouTube, and I'm back with an update video here. And in this video here, I'm right now doing an experiment here and working with the Magnum inverter. And one of the features of the Magnum inverter is the ability to connect and disconnect from the utility or from the grid based on a couple of settings. And like right now, I'm actually disconnected from the grid and inverting based on battery voltage. Just kind of give you an idea, you can set up the Magnum sign to connect to the grid based on the time of day, also the voltage in and voltage out, and you can also obviously have it connect and disconnect automatically. Like in my system here, this particular setting here, and this is what I'm running right now, it says that when the voltage of my battery bank is when it reaches 31.8 volts DC, disconnect from the grid. And if the battery bank ever reaches 18 volts, which is essentially when my batteries need to be recharged, then reconnect to the grid. So that's what's happening right now. And so you can see that I'm inverting, and coming down here you can kind of take a look at how much power is actually coming in right now from my charge controller to charge my batteries. Now this is not the full value because some of this is actually going and being inverted, so as far as the amperage, right now my battery bank is at 89% full, and I ran them down this morning to about state of charge around 35% or something like that. And right now my battery voltage is 31.9 volts. And so even when in the fact that I'm inverting right now, my batteries are still being charged. Now you see here it says 18.9. However, if you look here at the TriStar, you can see that it's actually 33 amps that are coming in from these solar panels, and I'm pulling about just over a kilowatt of power. Now what am I drawing out? Now right now I've changed the meter and so forth, so this is right now a meter that's connected to the output side of my inverter. And so the house is asking for just over 550 watts of power, and so the house is asking for half of that power coming in from solar panels. And if you look right here, it'll say that my my charge controller is in absorb mode, and so it's doing exactly what I need it to do. So the charge controller is keeping up with the demands of the Magnum inverter, and the batteries are getting charged at the same time. This is one of the ways that individuals can, kind of capitalize if they on their solar panels, if they have enough solar panels on the roof. Now, my solar panels with this particular MPPT charge controller, it's 600 volts. So, I mean, I've got voltage essentially for days coming in there. Now, you can see that it just went into MPPT mode. And that's because I believe, something just kicked on in the house. Actually, I'm running the dishwasher too. So right now, I'm pulling. My house is asking for over 2 kilowatts of power. Okay, I've got the dishwasher running. I've got computers running. There's a couple of lights. I've got some fans running and stuff like that. And now you can see that the batteries are being charged right now, but only at a rate of 5 amps. My battery bank is still at 89% full and charging. Okay, and I am still inverting. Going back here, you can see now it just got out of absorb mode, and now it's into bulk mode. Okay, when it just says MPPT, it's in bulk mode. So it's saying, basically give me as much power as I can stand coming from those panels. And you can see right now, the power just went up to like 1500 watts as far as coming in from the panels, and the amperage is at 50 amps. Okay, so because the charge controller now is trying to keep up. Why? Because the voltage has come down. Okay, it's at 30.6 volts. Now, if this voltage gets up to like 31.5 or 31.6 or something like that, then the charge controller will say, okay, now that you're up to voltage, now I'll go back into absorb mode. So right now it's working the way I need it to work. Okay, the maximum amperage that this particular charge controller will put out is just around 60 amps. I think a couple of us have seen it at 60.2 or something like that. But for all intents and purposes, maximum output is around 60 amps. Okay, and about 15 amps is coming in from 1,500 watts. Excuse me, just 1,542 watts is coming in from my panels at 50 amps. Okay, my voltage in my battery bank is 30.6. I am inverting, and I'm consuming, and just for my house loads, because the refrigerator is running, the freezer is running, and the dishwasher is running. So that's why it's consuming that much power, and plus I have computers running too. So right now it's doing what I need it to do. I'm trying to at least get the benefit. As opposed to just having my batteries charged all day long, and then after it gets charged, and I go off grid at night, and when I go off grid, I go off grid at night, and I go back on grid around it's sometime in the morning. But anyway, I just want I want to clarify. Okay, when I go off grid, this is not true. In my opinion, this is not true off grid living. Okay, true off-grid living is for like those folks out there that are truly off-grid. Okay, I mean they have cut their connection to the utility completely. So for the folks out there, out of respect for them, I am not a true off-gridder. I'm one of these people that I can come in at the flip of a switch, that switch, and I can go off-grid. I can take my house off-grid, at least partial off-grid, at any time. Okay. But I am not. This is not true off-grid living. Okay, so again, I just want to clarify that. Okay, I have the ability to go off-grid, but again, this is not true off-grid living. But anyway, all right. Take care, YouTube, and I'll try to keep you updated.
Hello again, YouTube. And I'm back with a little view of some things that I've got going on here that I decided to do to kind of give me a better view into my system. The web page that comes with the Morningstar charge controller has some very inaccurate information on it, particularly the array current and the array power. It's not very well calculated. So, I decided to, take it upon myself to create my own displays. Because the Morningstar charge controller has an industrial protocol, it's called Modbus TCP, I'm able to use something called an HMI. An HMI software package to create my own displays and communicate to that charge controller. And an HMI means it's an acronym that stands for Human Machine Interface. And in the industrial world, there's a segment called SCADA, or a segment of the industry called SCADA, where that's Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System, and it's used to get industrial information and put things on a screen so that people can run pieces of equipment. So using that, I decided to create my own display. And so just to give me some basic information that I need, like for instance the array voltage, the array current, right now my array is producing 4.12 amps, and this is the array power. This is battery information right now. It's 31.22 volts and 34.41 amps, and it's as far as the battery output, or the power going to the battery, is 1073 watts. Heat sink temperature is 127 degrees Fahrenheit and 87.8 degrees as far as the battery temperature, 87.8 degrees. So looking at this screen right here, some of you have shown in your videos, or I've seen some videos out there with individuals that you buy the Outback and you get, or the Whiz Bang Junior or something like that, and you get the ability to see some graphics and stuff like that. Similar to this, because I use a Morningstar charge controller that has the Modbus TCP protocol, I'm able to do the same thing. Essentially, just to kind of give you an idea, it's this information right here. This is the information that you can get, the type of information you can get from the Modbus protocol that the charge controller uses to communicate. Now, to figure out where to get this information, you'd have to take a look at this little document that Morningstar provides, and this document is called the TriStar MPPT Modbus specification document. It's 26 pages, and essentially, when you're looking at it, it gives you these addresses and the logical addresses within the Modbus, the controller. And you can, in order to figure out, what these addresses mean, this is the description of what's located at that particular address. Now, to see what's going on in the controller, you can utilize some software similar to this. Now, this software, I don't know if you can see the name of it. It's called Medford Modbus Viewer, version 1.19. You can kind of download it from the web, and you'll see these addresses here. You have these addresses, which correspond to what you saw in the PDF document, and then you have the Modbus address. And this is what a communications driver, this is what you will be addressing. So whenever you want to pull that information, you say, hey, I want to go to this particular address, and it's going to give you the data. This information, this data right here is in the raw. It's not, it's not massaged or anything. This is just raw data. And in order to make that data useful, I had to, come here to this document and take a look at this information. This is a kind of like, think of this as like a formula that you had to take to calculate. Like, for instance, you get the raw number and you multiply it by this decimal number here, and then you multiply it by 2 to the negative 15th power. Now, in order to get that information, you'd have to kind of pull it up on a calculator and do some calculations too. But it's I won't go into any details on that. But just to kind of give you folks some a little bit of insight as to what you can do if you had a charge controller or some type of device that actually communicates with a recognized industrial protocol. One thing with this here, this information you notice, excuse me, is the array power will always be higher than the battery input power, meaning it obviously takes more power to produce power so it can go to your battery bank. This thing right here gives you some very good information as to how your system is performing. Right now it's kind of getting late in the afternoon, and my battery voltage is still at like 30 volts, and I am currently off grid. It had been off grid pretty much all day, and using the Magnum, the Magnum inverters function that allows you to go off grid based on the battery state of charge. And so this is how I can actually, take the benefit, get the same benefits as many individuals get with, the Outback, charging the battery and feeding power back to the grid or to the loads in the house. And as I showed you earlier on another video or on another segment, where I was actually off grid and I'm doing things in the house, either consuming up to a kilowatt, maybe more. So this right here gives me some very good useful information. Now I can add some more little things to the screen. I can also capture the data, store it in a database for later viewing or something like that. But just wanted to give you folks some additional things that you could try if you're so inclined, if your charge controller or your devices can communicate with a recognized protocol. If anything, hey, it may be worth looking into. And not only that, but hey, you can pull this up, some useful information, and make up your own displays. This right here is an HMI, again, a human machine interface, and you can find this particular product on the web. And you can, it's called my designer, and let's see, my pro pro. If you type in Google search my designer and then space HMI, then it'll take you to the website. And this right here, I can actually take this, and this is on a computer screen. But I can also take the same information and send it down to an iPhone or an Android device, so I can see the exact same information as you're seeing here on my iPhone. And so I have, quote unquote, web access anywhere. So again, it gives me an incredible amounts of flexibility, and I'm not chained to the manufacturer's mistakes. Again, they had a serious mistake where the array power and the array current were like totally different, totally jacked up. Let me see if I could bring that up for you so that you can see what I saw. I don't know if it'll connect. I've been having trouble connecting to it through the web browser. I think the web portal is acting up or something. And let me see if I can bring it up for you so that you can see what I'm talking about. Well, I tried to bring it up, and evidently I'm having problems with the web server. But anyway, in any case, again, just wanted to show you folks out there, give you an idea of what my system is doing. And you can see here the voltage. Sometimes it can get really, really high. I've seen it, up in the low 400s. So even on a cloudy day, I can pull to at least 250 or higher volts easy. And as you can see, at 3.58 amps as far as coming in from the array, but at my battery bank, and this is getting late into the evening, and I'm still at 24 amps in the battery, and at 30 volts, just over 30 volts. Okay, YouTube, take care.